Before I continue with the rest of this video, I need to make an announcement. I now have a Starbound server you can hang out on. Actually, two servers. Both are modded. One is SFW, and the other is NSFW, and has some things I can't really discuss here on YouTube. Head on over to my Discord for more details. How many of you have played Mega Man X? How many of you have at least heard of it? If you don't know what it is, you're missing out. Mega Man X is an SNES classic, he says, knowing full well he's showing footage of the old PC version. Seriously though, I think this footage gives you a good idea of what this game's about. Run, jump, shoot, platform, take care of Sigma and his Mavericks. It's something I'd say is definitely still worth playing today, be it through the Mega Man X Legacy Collection, the original SNES version, the Mega Man X Collection on PS2 and GameCube, or indeed the old PC version with its weird soundtrack. But, as you've seen from the title, this video isn't really about Mega Man X or any game in that series for that matter. No, this is about X Arsenal, a mod for Starbound that adds every boss weapon from Mega Man X, X2, and X3. And I mean just the boss weapons. Things like X's Buster, Zero's Saber, and the secret Hadouken you can get in Mega Man X aren't present as of the time I'm making this. Though the mod's creator has expressed interest in adding at least the X-Buster in a future update, they've also said that adding stuff like the Hadouken and Zero Saber, quote, wouldn't feel right unless there were inputs involved, end quote. X4 through X8 aren't represented here because the mod's creator thought they'd have a hard time adapting those games' boss weapons for Starbound. I don't think it would be impossible to do that, but then again, I'm not a modder. I just talk about mods, sometimes with my nostalgia guest hosting. One fun aspect about X Arsenal is this short story tying it into the Starbound universe, which I'll go ahead and read to you, straight from the mod's description. The year is, well, very far into the future. Scavengers are attempting to salvage whatever technology they may find left on Earth's moon before it too is laid to waste by the grip of the ruin. One digger comes across an unusual piece of technology in particular, a capsule with the hologram of an elderly human scientist built into it. Believing it to be a novelty, the scavengers sought any passing merchant that would trade for it. Fortunately for him, the capsule caught the eye of one traveler in particular, one dealing in treasures. With an exchange for a couple of diamonds, each party had received what they desired. Now the treasured trophies merchant seeks a new hand to place the capsule into. And that's where X Arsenal begins, at the Outpost's Treasure Trophies shop. That means you'll need to have completed the Hilotl missions of Starbound's story mode. As you might have guessed, the Treasure Trophies merchant managed to get a hold of one of Dr. Light's capsules and is offering that among their many wares. Once you've acquired it and placed it down somewhere, you now have access to the 24 boss weapons from the first 3 Mega Man X games. I should point out that this mod does not add any armor sets or pieces, unlike the Dr. Light capsules from the Mega Man X series. Also, there are no bosses you need to defeat in order to obtain these weapons. What this mod does have is Sublime. Since I have it, here is the strike chain from Mega Man X2. It's somewhat different from its Mega Man X2 counterpart, being a whip instead of a grappling hook which shoots in a single direction in front of the player. It's not the only weapon that's had some major changes from the source material. I wish I had footage of all the different boss weapons from the Mega Man X games for comparison, but time constraints. Couldn't do much about that. If you want, you can look up videos of the first 3 Mega Man X games to see what all the original weapons were like. You'll notice that the strike chain is strong, overpowered even, and it's not the only weapon here that can be considered such. You might even say that some of these weapons have balancing issues, to which the mod's creator would say, what balance? On the flip side, these weapons' charged attacks are completely missing. You'd think they would be an alt attack in Starbound, right click instead of left click, but every single one of these weapons are one-handed, meaning they cannot have alt attacks. Like with X4 through X8's boss weapons, the mod's creator has said that they find these modes not easy to implement within Starbound's limitations. On the plus side, you can use 2 boss weapons at once, or go akimbo with 2 of the same boss weapon. Despite all these changes, these weapons are still incredibly fun to use, and many of them have the same functionality they had in the Mega Man X games. Boomerang Cutter, for example, can still collect items, but it cannot pull items through any solid surface. Electric Spark's projectiles still split in half upon impacting a surface, and then these projectiles go through walls. Crystal Hunter's projectiles can still freeze enemies, but these frozen enemies cannot be stood upon. I won't go over every single change from the source material in detail, since the mod's description has notes on some of the more notable changes. Honestly though, I'm just glad this exists, since there's only a small handful of Mega Man mods that aren't simply music mods. In other words, mods that add music, and only music, to the game. At least there's a Reploid race mod that I might take a look at soon. Until then, I don't know what else I can say about X Arsenal at this point, aside from continuing to dump heaps of praise on it, especially as someone who loved the Mega Man X games back in the day. I do wish that X4 through X8 were represented here in some form or fashion, but the mod's creator has made their thoughts on adapting these weapons to Starbound known, and I will not argue with them on that. Still though, X Arsenal, great mod. The Mega Man X series, great games, unless we're talking about X6 and X7. Ugh. Anyways, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please consider doing all the typical supporting people on YouTube things. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with your friends, that sort of thing. If you want to throw some money my way, there will be links to my Patreon and Ko-fi in this video's description. I also have a Discord server you can join, and you can commission me to create some art for you. Again, I'll drop links to those in the description. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye for now.